Yes, I've seen a lot of these Buy American on these same people's bumpers that are heading for Canada to buy their gasoline. But they will buy $1 worth from me just to make it over the bridge.
I'm Fran Lucca. On Channel 17 Reports this week, we'll take a look at the exodus of thousands of American cars daily into Canada for cheap gasoline and see what effect this is having on residents on both sides of the border. Still questionable is whether the bridges coming into Canada can handle the heavy traffic during the peak tourist season and whether the Americans will wear out their welcome.
What is your opinion of the droves of American cars coming over here for cheaper gas?
My opinion, I'm delighted that we're having the increased business, but my main concern is highway safety.
Well, the volume is kind of nice economically for Fort Erie. I guess some of us are concerned about the potential problems in terms of the hazards that might crop up with large amounts of cars coming into Fort Erie uncontrolled and with the minimal number of stations available for them to go to.
What is your opinion of the droves of American cars coming over here to Canada to buy cheap gas?
Love it. It's a dream come true.
Do you foresee a shortage of gasoline here in Canada because of the heavy drain by Americans?
No, we don't. At the present time, we just don't see that on the horizon at all. Other factors could arise suddenly that would create a gasoline problem here, but there's no sign of that at the present time.
How can Americans help avoid any problems, and what should they be made aware of?
Keeping the roads clear is our main problem is parking on the road waiting to enter a gas station, eh? And if they were aware of that and they saw that the service station was full, then if they travel around the block a couple of times until they could get on the station without without interfering with the free flow of traffic on the roads, that would help us immensely.
Well, what problems do you foresee?
Well, I'm more or less living from day to day, listening to the problems of yesterday, today, and wondering what tomorrow is going to bring forth.
Let's start with the problems of yesterday.
The problems of yesterday, basically, are the problems of Highway 3, which we have managed to circumvent, I hope, by having the no stopping signs. Now, they weren't put up to discourage people from coming over. They were put up to enable the police to keep the highway clear.
Now, the problems of today.
The problems of today are making sure that everybody is served properly, that our businessmen don't take advantage of the purchaser, which I don't think they're doing. They're being very cooperative with the town anyway.
And the problems of tomorrow?
The problems of tomorrow are wondering how we're going to handle our normal summer traffic plus the extra traffic.
And the racetrack crowd?
Well, that's our normal summer traffic. The racetrack, the commuters, the summer residents, plus the tourists.
All right, then the first consideration that we have is the rezoning application. The request C4 gas station from the existing zoning C3 highway commercial. Southeast corner highway.
The Fort Erie Town Board is deciding whether or not to grant permits for more gas stations in the area. Potential investors are chomping at the bit. And why not? According to one estimate, border gas stations are raking in $8,000 a week in profits. The board will make its final decision after an impact study is prepared.
Okay, this is a bonanza for the town. The mall people are cleaning up. It's fantastic. It's great. Hopefully somebody's going to start thinking, however, about the long-term effects on this town.
Have you had any problems with the Americans coming over here getting gas?
We've had no problems with them. Sometimes they get a little irritated at one another, not at us, at one another when somebody will hang back and not pull up. Some guy with a small car is liable to jump in front of them, and then the next time they come, they pull up.
How about your Canadian customers? Are they a little bit miffed that they have to stand in line like this gentleman here, a Canadian car, waiting for all these Americans to gas up? Are they upset in any way?
Oh, some of them are upset, especially our local ones, but most of them realize that it's bringing a lot of business into this town, and we're one of the highest unemployed regions in Canada as far as that goes, and I know myself, I've had to hire 3 extra men. I know everybody in town that has had to hire extra men and just to accommodate everything, and but the ones that get the biggest, get the most upset are the ones from out of town who didn't gas up here anyways. When they originally came through here, they'd gas up after they crossed the bridge because it was cheaper then.
Do you foresee any major problems this summer?
A lot depends on how the locals react to the lines, and a lot also depends on the goodwill of the relative stations. If they open up, for example, lines for residents, I think this will help quite a bit.
Some local residents are complaining about the long gas lines in nearby stations, but that's not always the case.
Say going back 10, 12 years ago, we used to go to Bethel and buy gas for 33 cents a gallon. Gas over here is 56, so I don't blame them at all.
That's good. Just that you have to sort of come at a time when you figure there aren't too many cars.
And I work at a garage station, too.
You do?
Yeah, I work at Riverside Golf.
So, as far as you're concerned, why, hey, God bless them, huh? You did it when,
Well,
when
sure.
the gas was high here?
You know, the businessmen aren't complaining. It's the public. I mean, the garages aren't busy after 6 o'clock at night. They can get their gas at 6 o'clock at night, eh? That's, you know, they've been complaining in the papers, on the news, and everything else. I don't think they've got anything to bitch about. I really don't.
I think that your economy is probably boosted a little here, the restaurants and the shops.
Like they say, 95% of the people just come over to buy gas. But I've seen them stop at Ontario Bakery, buy, you know, meat, and stop and get bread, or then get gas, or get the gas first, come back. They come over for dinner. It's helping the town of Fort Erie. It really is.
Isn't the influx of American cars coming over here for cheap gas more or less boosting your economy here in Fort Erie?
It most certainly is. I've done some checking around with our local businesses, and most of them are experiencing an increase in business, most of them.
In what areas do you find increased sales besides naturally gasoline sales?
Our restaurants are doing very well. When you check the parking lots and you check parking along the streets, I would say probably 90% of the cars have U.S. license plates.
How long has Happy Jack's been in business here in Fort Erie now?
15 years now.
Now, do you notice a great increase in your business since all the Americans have been coming over here for gas?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the more business, the people come buy gas, I get the more business.
Usually you were busy during the summer months, and the fall and winter months, how were they? Were it a little slack?
Yeah.
During weekends, it's okay.
So
weekdays to be slow, but ever since the gas crisis, whatever you want to say, you know, we're doing all right all year round. Past year, very good.
Just how has your economy been boosted by the throngs of Americans coming across the border for gasoline?
Well, it's up dramatically. The Fort Erie area is thriving, of course, as I'm sure you know. And it's long been our opinion that all we have to do is get some Americans over the border and see that Canada is here, exciting, got some terrific things to see and do, and can have some face-to-face contact with some of our people, that they'll stay, that they won't just stay, get some gas in Fort Erie and go home. So We're happy to have them. Want them to keep coming. And perhaps next time they're over for gas, they'll think about going on to Fort Erie Racetrack, over to St. Catharines, maybe over to Niagara-on-the-Lake for the Shaw Festival, and maybe coming to Toronto the next time.
How long have you been in business here, Mr. Jones?
Since 1962.
And what type of a store would you call yours?
Variety. Yeah, I have cheese, I have chocolate, I have some groceries, and mostly import.
Now, how has your business increased with the influx of the American cars coming over here for gas?
Oh, when people come with a car, Papa wait in line and Mama goes do some shopping. And so they come in, and that's the way it increases, and it really increases.
So you welcome the Americans.
Oh, hey, if they close the bridge today, this is Doomsville. That's for sure.
Just want to know how long you've been coming over here for this good cheap gas?
Since February 1st.
February, huh? How much of a savings do you figure you
I'm saving $10 a week.
$10 a week. What kind of shortcuts are there as far as interests and so forth, interest rate? Do you exchange your money here?
Yes, I do.
And how does that work?
16 to 17%. You buy your money, and you come over here, and you're buying the gas at a cheaper rate plus the exchange.
And then when you have that extra money, do you usually stop off somewhere and spend it?
Not too often. Not too often.
Have you been harassed in any way by either the bridge personnel or the police?
Not yet.
Everything's been pretty
I've heard
smooth.
people have had trouble, but I haven't had a bit of trouble.
How long have you been coming over here for gasoline?
Just about a month.
It took you a little while to catch on, did it?
Yeah, I heard people were coming, and I didn't know, it was so cheap over here.
And how much do you figure you save a tank full a week?
Oh, about $5, $7.
Where do you get your money? Do you exchange it over here?
Yes, I do.
And what other shortcuts are there and little helpful hints that you can give people?
Well, we come over here for dinner a couple times a month, so.
So you give it right back, more or less, and enjoy it, huh?
Right, yeah.
I got sick and tired of the rip-off that I get in the States. I went over to Washington because my daughter lives around there last November for Thanksgiving. Coming back, I went through Pennsylvania. Gas around Buffalo was $1.25 a gallon for unleaded gas. Do you know what they were over on the Pennsylvania Turnpike? They were 96 cents. Check it up if you don't believe it. I don't see why in New York State we should pay that kind of money when other states are getting it a lot cheaper.
Speaking of the states, local gas stations are feeling the pinch of the Canada crossings. The president of the gasoline retailers of Western New York, Norman Grapes. What effect has the so-called Canadian connection made on the Western New York gasoline market?
Well, first of all, on the retailers' end of it, it's hurt us badly on the volume of gasoline that we're selling. It's cut back in several other businesses as well, unrelated businesses such as clothing stores, restaurants, and so on, the tourist area in Niagara Falls as well as Buffalo, because those people who go over there, when they do get gas, they also frequent the other businesses also and spend their money there.
Is our overall consumption down here in Western New York?
Very much so, yes. I would say in the neighborhood of 25%.
What is the allocation picture locally?
Well, the allocation picture has increased as far as the percentage is concerned from last month to this month. I would say on the average of 75% to 85% from last month to this month. But it's a matter of trying to get rid of it.
How about prices? Didn't they more or less come down because of the American exodus to Canada?
Well, yes, from the retail end of it, naturally, in order to be competitive, the retailers have had to drop their own profit structure down on an average around 5 cents a gallon.
You're practically at the entrance of the Peace Bridge, and looking out your window, you can see the droves of cars going over the bridge to buy cheap Canadian gas. Now, how does that make you feel?
Well, it gripes me, but not as much as it did in the beginning, because I've gotten used to it. We go day to day, but we're here 12 hours a day.
What effect has this Canadian exodus had on your business?
Well, I'd say it's taken about 50% of it. And I can see it.
Did you have to cut corners or cut help or cut back in any way because of it?
Yes, I brought my part-time man goes home early. I need him. As I need him, I have him. And mechanical work, he's here for work, and when it's gone, he goes home.
You figure we're losing money by all of these cars going over there?
Yes, I'd like to give you an example, Fran. According to the Peace Bridge Authority here in this country, from January 1 of 1980 to April 29th of 1980, 1,759,400 cars went over the bridge. Now, on an average per day, that means it's about 15,000 cars per day. Now let's figure on American. Naturally, there's a few Canadians going back and forth over the bridge itself. But the American cars, we figure around 11,700 cars per day going over for gas or other related items. Now, 80% of those, I would say, were going over for gas. That would leave us about 9,400 cars going over for gas per day. Now, figuring on that basis, just on the taxes alone, this country is losing. That's the federal government as well as the state government. Figuring on 7 to 8 cents on sales tax, 8 cents on state tax, and 4 cents on federal tax. That means we're realizing a loss of $28,200 per day that this government is losing. In the short run, naturally the customer is not realizing this, that naturally of the government and their consequences. But in the long run, they're going to have to pay through the nose one way or the other. The government certainly is not going to let that go by. Now, plus, when they do go over there and get the gas, they're saving themselves about $10 on an average per tank full. Well, they're certainly not going to come all the way over here and spend that money for restaurants or groceries or whatever the case may be. They're going to purchase that over in Canada. So there's just that much more being lost by other small businesses in this particular area.
Have you had any strange encounters with people on the way to Canada, or maybe stopping off here?
Oh, every day. Well, the best part was the 20-cent sale. And the man said, I just want enough to get over the bridge.
What did you tell him?
I didn't say nothing. I don't say nothing to this man.
You didn't give him?
Because either he's trying to aggravate me, but I've gotten over it now.
Did you give him 20 cents worth of gas?
Yeah, we got to give him 20 cents. And I've been seriously thinking of putting a minimum up of $5 and nothing below that.
Jim, when you look out over these lines, what kind of a feeling do you get?
When you see business like this, you always have a good feeling.
How long have they been lining up like this now?
Oh, probably the last 5-6 months.
Now, can you explain to us just how your liter works compared to the American gallon of gas?
Well, the American liter, or the American gallon, is equal to 3.63 liters of gas. And that equals an American gallon. A Canadian gallon equals 4.54 liters. The cost of an American gallon of gas in U.S. money runs about 93 cents right now, plus the discount on their money.
Over here?
Over here.
Now, say you get about roughly 16 to 18% discount if you go to the bank. What is a gallon of gas costing if they do exchange their money?
If they exchange their money, it runs, roughly, I'd say around 81 cents.
Have had any problems with the American cars over here? How are they?
Yeah, no, they cooperate pretty good.
How about your fellow Canadians? Are they a little miffed, or are they just...
No, whenever they come in, I just give them preference.
How's that?
I let them cut in line.
Oh, you do that?
Yeah, let them get their own gas. It's only fair.
You don't have a special line for...
Well, we did, but it didn't work too good. So we cut it right back out again. So now they just, if they're going to come off the street or coming from the mall or something like that, I'll just guide them in and get them out.
The Americans aren't complaining. They're just happy to get their gas and...
Well, the same as anybody.
How long have you been coming over here for gas?
Oh, just recently.
the last few weeks or so.
How come you didn't come sooner?
I like to patronize the States, too. You know, I live there and everything, so I just come over. We're going on a fishing trip over the weekend, so I decided to fuel up a little earlier.
You don't usually come over here every week?
No, not normally. Just once in a while. I still like the States. They pay me, so I might as well spend my money there.
How long have you been getting gas over here in Canada?
Would you believe since last May?
And what brought you over here then?
Well, when the price of gas increased in the States, I decided to come over here and save some money.
How do you figure you're saving money? What shortcuts are you taking?
Well, I get the Canadian exchange at the Canadian bank, and I buy my bridge tickets with Canadian money. Pay for my gas, of course, with Canadian money.
How much do you figure you save a week in this car?
Well, I use unleaded gas, so I save between 65 cents a week to 70 cents a week.
Per gallon?
Per gallon. This is the imperial gallon.
So we're talking about overall $5, $6 you figure you save a week?
Oh, well, not quite, because I have a compact car, and I probably save about $3 on a tank full.
And what do you do with that extra money? Do you ever spend it over here?
Oh, yeah, we go to the Chinese restaurants, visit the cheese factory.
So they're getting your money one way or another, but you're enjoying it.
That's right.
How about harassment of any kind? Have you been bothered by people on the bridge or police? Have they been harassing you in any way?
Well, just once I was approached on the bridge by the inspector wanting to know what I had in a package. And they pulled me over to the inspection center, and I had to show them what I had in the package. And they wouldn't let me cross into Canada unless I paid a duty on it. And I felt it was a pair of pants that I was taking to the tailor's. Just forgot to take it out of my car.
And they sent you back?
And they sent me back to the States.
But otherwise, everyone's been pretty decent?
Oh, yeah, very polite.
Have you had any reports of Americans being harassed by your bridge people?
I've heard a couple, and we've checked it out, and there really has been no foundation to it.
What was the type of complaint?
Well, we were advised that somebody was checking for the car insurance slips, which is really none of our business. They should have insurance. I'd be up to the police department if they get any problems on the highway.
Is there any way Americans could be more cooperative? What should they be made aware of when they come over here?
Well, 99% of them are very cooperative. They must realize that all they're allowed really to export from Canada as far as gasoline is concerned is what is in their tank. Any extra cans of gasoline should have an export permit from Ottawa.
Well, what if it's a regulation tank, gasoline tank?
Whatever their car will hold.
No, in addition. I mean, an additional can that's official.
Anything above their gas tank should have a permit, which takes quite a while to obtain. The tourists, which pretty well know about permits for their dogs and cats and parakeets and things like that, I think that most Americans are pretty well aware of these things now.
Have you had any complaints of Americans being harassed by police while coming over here for gas?
Well, I've had a couple of friendly letters saying, you know, I mean, they're not trying to do anything wrong. They don't know why they were charged for stopping on the highway. I wrote them back. I hope I explained the situation to them, and I think everything's fine.
What about seat belts? Are you strictly imposing that law here?
Yes.
For everybody?
Yeah. That seatbelt law is for everybody, including the Americans. You must see that your seatbelt's connected when you come over here.
Of course, if you have an old junker without seatbelts, you're not going to...
Then you're covered by the law. You don't need seatbelts. So it's only when seatbelts are needed in the newer cars that you're going to be running any trouble.
There's been some disturbing talk of restrictions like not allowing the American cars over the bridges with less than a quarter of a tank of gas and maybe charging $5 to $7 for short positions.
Don't listen to them.
No?
Don't listen to them. Won't let it happen. They're too important. The tourist industry in this province is a key industry. It's our number 2 industry in this province. Terribly important to us. generates about $6 billion of revenue every year. $6 billion worth of revenue. And we're not about to threaten that by having any irrational or emotional response to some Americans coming over and doing what we've done for years. That is, go where the gas was least expensive. There will be none of those restrictions put on unless there's countrywide rationing. In this country, which there's not going to be.
What do you see as a solution to the overall problem?
I don't know if there is a solution, but I think everybody has to be aware of, as far as Fort Erie is concerned, of our particular situation, which is some of our gas stations aren't designed to handle large volumes of traffic. Our streets aren't designed for long lineups, and I would urge those coming over to Fort Erie to purchase gasoline to be considerate.
I guess it's up to the people, the American people. They're only hurting themselves. If I've got gas and they won't buy it, when there is no gas and I have gas, then they all flock to me and I don't have enough for them. They're going to get mad at me again. So there you go. Can't win.
Well, that's a difficult answer to give you, Fran. The solution at this particular point in time is not the real answer. The solution we should go after is handling the DOE, restructuring the DOE, the government, and getting them together and working together with the legislatures in the state as well as the federal, because one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And that will never have a solution until such time that those people get together and work together with the industry. And then we can come up with solutions that would be, I would say, satisfactory to the retailers as well as the consumer.
Well, I don't think there's any definite solution. Raise our gasoline to compete with your prices and our people suffer, or raise our dollar value to par to stop that attraction and knock down our exports, maybe. I don't know. That's a decision for Ottawa. You know, they're working on that sort of thing, I guess. I don't see any immediate solution to it. They're welcome to come and get the gas as long as it's here.
And obey their law.
And as long as they obey our laws, yeah. And they do, pretty well.
The only solution, if Canada prices go down. If the prices keep 40 cents cheaper, there isn't nothing. In fact, I'm going across there buying my gas pretty soon.
That's how bad it is.
That's how bad it is. I don't blame the people going across there with the prices the way they are over here.
Okay, your tourism motto is "We treat you royally."
That's the old one. This year it's yours to discover. Ontario, yours to discover.
But you're still going to treat us royally.
I promise.